Welcome to the Laser Lounge podcast, where creativity meets craftsmanship and the maker community comes to life. I'm your host, Alicia Pate. I'm a full-time laser maker, ranch-based entrepreneur, and your guide through the world of CO2, Galvo, CNC, and everything in between. This show is all about real conversation, practical tips, and the stories behind the grind. Whether you're running a side hustle, building a full-blown business, or just love the maker life. Shout out to our incredible show sponsors who help make this podcast possible. GS2 Awards and Trotec for unmatched quality in engraving and award supplies and awesome machines. Coty and Laser, pushing the Galvo innovation forward. And Phantom CNC, where precision meets power. Now let's jump into today's show. All right. Welcome to another day on the podcast. We've got a great guest with us today. Alison Todd will be representing GS2 Awards, and I thought this was a great opportunity to get a hold of some of her time. I know she's a busy lady, and so is Braden. And I really just wanted to introduce you guys to the group and to some of the people that listen to the podcast that may not be aware of your services and what you guys do, and a little bit about our relationship and partnership. So welcome to the show, Alison, and I'll give you in a second here a little bit to introduce yourself, but I'm partnered with GS2 Awards and their team, and we signed that recently within the last few months, and I think it's been a great partnership. And so I wanted to get you guys some airtime on the podcast and talk about what you do and a little bit about yourself. So Alison, welcome. Tell us a little bit about who you are first.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really happy that you had the time, to talk to me. And I'm always the behind the scenes worker of the GS2 Awards duo of myself and Braden. He's more comfortable being around all the people and talking at the trade shows. But yeah, really, I'm the one behind the scenes trying to keep things moving forward as smoothly as possible.
How many years have y'all had GS2 Awards just in general?
So Braden started as like a single man shop doing sandblasting. And this was, he's done that for a long time, like back in like 2000, 2002, like really whenever he, turned 18, he started doing it more as a side hobby while he was going to college, while he was working full time. And then in 2008, he moved out to Colorado and really kind of went all in with his business, trying to do more artistic, decorative sandblasting stuff, but kind of quickly realized that he needed to pay the bills. So started incorporating like production and sandblasting production in order to get repeat customers to like keep his shop doors open and pay the bills. Braden and I, we were dating at this point. We weren't married yet. I was minimally involved in the business at this point. Definitely spent some late nights helping him assemble trophies and all of that kind of stuff. But I was uninvolved enough that he was able to literally move his entire shop in one weekend whenever he told me he was just working late. So I was in grad school in Colorado at the time, going to grad school. And then after I graduated from grad school, I started working full time. I was interested in teaching chemistry. I taught kind of like introductory chemistry courses for some community colleges in the area, kind of did some part-time teaching, a couple different situations while helping Braden part-time.
I think I remember him telling me that you actually have your PhD, right?
Yes. So
yeah, you're a smart one.
So, definitely was not envisioning that this was going to be my life path. Braden's he's like the dreamer. Like he's
the artsy guy, right? He's more the artsy, and you're like the the one in the shop getting it done and making sure the process and the flows are moving and things like that.
Yeah, he's more comfortable like taking risks. Kind of what you do need to be like self-employed, entrepreneurial. That all makes me nervous.
Yeah.
But so I'm the one that tries to think about things from all angles and probably overanalyzes everything. And
You
you
need
know,
somebody analytical. I think about your background and I think how complementary it is to this space, because there's a lot of things that you could introduce with new chemicals and new solutions and sealers and glues and top coats and when we partnered up, my mind was rolling on things that would be like the gaps that I see from a maker perspective. I'm like, Alison could help formulate those solutions and bring some new things to the maker table.
I mean, maybe. Yeah, Braden always asks me these chemical questions, and then he'll be like, "How do you not know that? I thought you should know that." And I'm like,
That's awesome. So you guys have your base is in Colorado Springs, correctly?
so we're in Boulder.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Boulder.
north of Denver. So,
And you have employees, right? You got staff members too, right?
yeah, we've grown to the, point. We're still a very small business, but there's about 10 of us right now. And yeah, so
That's pretty big. I mean, for me, in my thinking, I want to get up there sometime soon. I think you got another event coming up in November where James and I are going to try to come up there. So let's
oh,
talk a little bit about, what all do you guys offer? I know that, and I'm just going to give you what my thinking is, and you correct me and help fill in the gaps. So you guys provide supplies to the maker and awards industry. You also sell equipment, and then you install that equipment. And you can talk a little bit about that whenever I hand it over. And then you also make your own product for businesses. So you have a lot of B2B work with making awards. You provide supplies to makers, and then you actually sell equipment, and Braden does the install. That's kind of what I think you guys do, but I'll turn it over to you and you kind of talk about those.
yeah. So, for a long time we did, awards, direct to customer. And we did a lot of just like engraving work, like really ran as like a trophy, kind of a custom trophy shop, engraving shop for a lot of years. And Braden's always looking for the next thing. And, kind of, it was around like 2018, 2019, he thought like, oh, well, we've been doing these custom awards for so long. We really feel like it kind of is a missing piece in the market versus, the standard trophy catalogs or like the trophy blank catalogs. And we can really offer, things that are custom. And kind of the idea or the vision was that we were going to really launch with like award blanks and kind of push the award blanks and different kinds of custom trophies or awards that people could offer. That was like, we were lined up. Of course, Braden, signed up to go to all these trade shows in 2020. And then kind of the pandemic caused that to pretty much, shut down. No one was really giving awards in 2020, and a lot of things. Yeah, or maybe some people were, but the big events, the big
the in-person giving out stuff. Like, yep.
So he kind of transitioned into the material side, focusing on reselling wood sheets and materials that people could use. There was a big boom of like everyone was at home crafting, making different products and selling on Etsy and different things like that. So we kind of transitioned into products for that market. That was, still booming and thriving.
Yep.
Braden put a lot of focus into really working to develop what we now call laser lumber, which is a wood sheet like specifically designed for laser use, glitter-free, high quality veneers, trying to get something really good out there that people could use for,
It is a
for
great product. I've got a lot of it in my shop and use it. And, people that get tired of dealing with plywood, you go to Home Depot, Lowe's plywood with the gaps and the glue pockets. You don't even have that issue. You just throw it in and go. It's flat. I love it.
Yeah. And so that was really, the focus during kind of like the pandemic and years, following, and with some award blanks kind of still as one of our offerings. In the last couple of years, we've really tried to focus our energy into award blanks. And specifically, one of the things that I'm, trying to really focus and get our name out there is the custom offerings, where basically, anyone, with a shop that has, maybe customers that would like their logo cut out of acrylic, or really creating something custom that you can't really get in a different catalog. We can cut all of those to order and really kind of provide laser cutting services for like thick, custom cut award blanks, and try to offer that.
I want to expand on that a little bit. I think that's a great thing that you guys are doing, and just to go into a little bit more depth about it. For me as a maker, if I'm going around to award, conferences or whatever, you kind of see the same cookie cutter styles and shapes of acrylic awards. And, I'm putting on my own shop hat and going, wow, most of my clients are rodeo, Western, or FFA 4-H. I don't see anything that looks like that. And so this is what she's talking about is you can let's take my example. I do a lot of work with FFA. Or a university, you can upload a shape of a design that you want. So maybe it's a 4-H and it's the clover leaf. I can upload a shape of that into their portal and say, Alison, this is kind of what I'm wanting, because I know I'm either going to UV print on this shape at a, indentured inside of it, or I'm going to engrave it. And then you guys can custom make one of those really nice, thick acrylic awards that I see at these, shows, but it's my shape that I need it to be. It could be an example of, we've talked about this a little bit in the Facebook group, people that are doing awards for, roadsters or auto kind of events. They can enter up like the side of, I'm not very familiar with auto stuff, but, like the pistons of an engine, right? The custom shape of pistons of an engine. It could be anything. And so I think that is a great area for y'all to get into.
Yeah. I'm really excited about it. And there's so many areas, like different areas of places that give awards, and every shop is like focused on, like different, like 4-H or, or cars or anything. And the custom.
Well, like I did one with Folds of Honor, and they have their, classic folded flag at the top. And I sent you a shape of a square or a rectangle, and then the silhouette outline of the flag. And now I've got blanks for them to do that are going to be easy to cut or easy to UV print on. And, with the whole UV printing space being such a big ride and wave right now, this is a phenomenal idea that y'all are doing.
Yeah. Like having like, like logos for, different places, and then just putting like a contour line around it. And it's like really making like a custom award, but it's in the shape of the logo. And, in my experience, I feel like everyone just loves their logo being highlighted. And if you can like basically create the award around the logo, I think that that's like a great way to feature, the company or the organization.
Yeah. And the nice thing is that y'all have the equipment and the tools to cut that really thick acrylic, which I don't, most makers do not have. And that's where y'all shop comes in clutch on that, is that y'all got really high end, big machines. I think Kearns, is what they are. And they do that cutting of 1-inch thick acrylic.
Yeah. It's definitely something that, it's definitely something that, we added to our shop in order to do these, in-house award production. It's not something that, everyone, I think, could or should, try to strive to have. I mean, possibly, maybe. But
No,
I
it's
think
just
that
it's a
in the
big it's a big commercial tool that a
yeah,
shop, like a real
in,
when I say real business, I run a real business, but mine is not on that scale. So you guys are doing high production acrylic awards that um that require that type of machinery.
and one of the things that one of the things that we want to bring for our offerings is like, we would love to do, a high volume order of, custom awards, but we also do small batch, custom awards. So, anyone that's thinking like, oh, this could be cool, but I don't need 100 of them. We've done like, two for certain people. And, sometimes if you're doing something really special, two is all you need, and to have something custom in a small batch is
Yep, that's a good call
pretty
out,
rare.
because a
Yeah.
lot of people have minimums, and sometimes this smaller businesses like mine, like you just said, I don't need 100, and the minimums for some of these shops really run a lot of us out. So that's something I'll make sure that I communicate to the group. But we did some in our shop with FFA animals and the cutouts of the shapes, and man, they were just adorable. And I know that some other people have ordered those from y'all since, but it's a great idea, great offering, and check out their site. Give a plug on your website where they need to go to see that.
I believe it's on the main landing page at gs2awards.com. I think that there's a link there, but I believe it's gs2awards.com dash custom. I
They
should
can
know
find
the
it from
exact
there. Don't
link.
worry about it. I
Yeah.
don't want to put you on the spot, but let's talk a little bit more about the awards industry. I think this is an area that if you're in it and you're killing it, you realize how well it is. If you're not in it and your sales are lagging and you want to pick up a different kind of angle to help your shop, the awards industry is humongous. I've done some analytics on it, looking at the numbers, projections, and it's a big aspect in the maker of the laser engraving industry. And if you're not in it, you're missing out. So talk a little bit about your perspective and where you see the awards industry and kind of where it's been, where it's going, and where you see some opportunities for like a smaller shop like mine.
Yeah, I mean, it's like so many places give awards, like we talked about, it's like, we have like the livestock award, for that. And that's not like an avenue I would have ever, thought, because that's not a world that I'm in. But it's like all these little areas, give awards, all these events give awards, like recognition. Everyone has recognition. And I think that a lot of people think of like awards or trophies as kind of the standard, like column trophies.
Yeah, the old school ones we got as
Yeah.
kids.
Like you like screw together, or like the, participation
Yep.
trophies, or, everyone gets a trophy type thing. And I mean, in like kind of standard trophy shops. And I feel like every town has like standard trophy shops that offer those offerings, or there could be like franchise trophy shops or different places like that, that have like basically unlimited, seemingly unlimited options for things like that. But where I think is a good opportunity is there's so many events or, organizations that are looking for something that's different. Like everyone's always looking for something different, or how can
Yep.
they distinguish
Each year
their
it
event?
changes, right? And
Yeah.
if you get hooked on with a company, like I do awards for Folds of Honor, you got to bring something new the next year, right? Because some of those participants are back in the same events, and you want to bring something new and creative. And I think that's what's nice about your shop is that you guys are not only you make your own awards for companies, but you're keeping up with some of the latest technology and the latest trends that people are doing.
Yeah. And I mean, one of the areas that I think is a great opportunity for shops of all sizes, especially smaller shops, is trying to find, local events, that, might be looking for just, something different or something unique. And I feel like a lot of people do want to support small businesses and have something different. And where like a creative kind of out of the box option is really appealing to them. And even, basically there's like so many products that can be made with lasers or UV printers or even woodworking equipment, but all of those things essentially could be kind of, I feel like anything can really be turned into an award.
Yeah.
And I think that people are looking for like practical or like, like this is an award, but something that people can actually use versus something that someone's going to get and say, oh, I'm
Trash
going
it.
to throw this away, or like, what am I going to do with
Yeah.
this? I don't have space, so that's
Yeah.
I think a good opportunity, or just something unique. People are more likely to keep and then get excited about the organization or the event that gave it to them.
Yeah, and one of the things I see that you guys do well in your shop, not only with your own awards, but also with your blanks, is that you layer different materials. And you can definitely see that material layering when you go to events. And I encourage any maker to get out to a conference that's local to them, even if it's not, to, buy those tickets and fly to some of those conferences and get around and see these booths where you have companies like GS2 Awards that have their samples out and the products that they sell, and it'll just open your eyes to so many possibilities of things you could do with metal, things you could do with glass, acrylic. The thick acrylic is what is really capturing me a lot this year, because I'm new to the UV printing space, and there's so many things you can do with these shapes and colors, or you can engrave them, right? If you just have a laser, you can engrave that acrylic and it just looks great, and it's a classy look. And so there's so many different things you can do. So do y'all offer blanks in metal, wood, acrylic, and do you do glass, or can you kind of summarize that a little bit?
Yeah, so we offer blanks in metal. That's we've offered stainless blanks, so like we could cut something out of stainless steel, like a custom cut shape. Although engraving that, you do have to have, a CO2 laser isn't probably the best for engraving stainless steel, although there is like marking sprays and different things that you can use. We also have powder coated steel awards that we could do in custom cut shapes. So like cold roll steel, and then we powder coat it. That's really receptive to UV inks and has really great adhesion for UV inks. Or you could even do like an etch through powder coat to stainless steel, kind of like the idea of engraving a tumbler, and then get that look with like the shiny stainless underneath powder coat. So we do offer that, and we have, we're not promoting that as much just because powder coating does need batch minimums to send through.
Yeah.
So we can't really offer like a one-off powder
But if
coated.
someone had high volume, they could come to
Yeah.
you, and okay, that's good to know. My mind is just spinning as you're telling me that, and I'm thinking about the work that I do at the university at Texas A&M, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I could combine the acrylic with some little bit of metal, and I could glue that on there, and how cool would that look?
Yeah. And we do custom wood shapes too. Again, that's one of the things that we're going to try to start promoting a little bit more. Custom cut acrylic is something that we started with, and we're trying to promote, wood, but reaching out to me, like we can do a lot of different custom things. It would just probably need to have a conversation on what we can do, what would be the best for the project, things like that.
Yeah, so my key takeaway, and one of the things that I wanted to really do with having you on, is to kind of showcase some of those capabilities that y'all have that you can do in partnership with other makers. So like me, I don't have the capacity in my shop to cut 3/4 inch or 1 inch acrylic, and y'all do. And y'all are a great partner for being able to work with smaller businesses like mine and say, hey, I want to try some of these, expand on some of these. Can you work with me on this? And y'all provide that kind of service. And I think that's what's nice about what y'all are bringing to the maker space, is that you are a large shop and you will work with smaller shops to do some of that concierge type, customization that's needed.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we love. I mean, that's what we love doing. Like, I mean, we started, Braden started with just the same, a sandblaster and a stone saw, which is not something that I love that he still has and can still do. But it's like he kind of started with lower cost equipment, more time, but really had to use what we had and like the creativity to create, an award. And then as we grew, we were able to expand into larger, more production level equipment, so we can let the equipment, do the, some of the things. We don't need to cut, although we still can, we don't need to cut stone and then sandblast each one to make it a trophy, but we can still keep things custom. We're always trying to think of new ideas, trying to come up with things
that's what's great about him being that artsy. That's what's great about him being that artsy maker in y'all's company, is that he's still in himself thinking about that design aspect. You mentioned a little bit about equipment. Let's take our conversation over to equipment. You guys also sell equipment. You're distributors for a couple of different brands. And then Braden, that's what he does a lot, right? I mean, he wears several hats, but one of his main hats is installing equipment. So hit on that a little bit, please.
Yeah, so Braden kind of hit the, trade show circuit promoting GS2 awards and the materials and the award blanks. So he went to a lot of different trade shows and was able to, really put himself in front of, different companies and do a lot of networking. And during that is how he got connected with Trotec Laser. So we partnered with them at the beginning of 2024 to become a distributor. So we're an independent distributor, or GS2 Awards is an independent distributor for Trotec Laser. And basically it allows us to work with customers to provide different Trotec lasers. We are able to work with all of our existing GS2 or potential GS2 customers and really help them to try to, upgrade or find the right fit for equipment for their shop. So that has been something that we've really, really loved that partnership and being able to kind of help people expand their production with adding new equipment and things like that.
Yeah, just for a little bit more color on that. Basically, if you buy a Trotec laser through GS2 Awards, Braden will come out, install it for you, make sure you're all up and running, get you going, and you have that concierge type service, like support help. If you get stuck on something, you just pick up the phone and call or text Braden, and it doesn't take a while to get your question answered. And so that's the level of service that you're getting there. So it's actually a nice little ad that you guys have there.
Yeah. And one of the things, basically GS2 Awards as a distributor, all of our customers get all of the support from, Trotec Inc. We get, or everyone gets like all of the same tech support, all of the same resources that Trotec provides, but then it's kind of an additional level of service.
It's the first line of defense, right? They get through Braden, and sometimes he's like, oh yeah, I know what you need to do. And then if it needs to be elevated, he helps with that assistance process, right?
Really, honestly, and being married to him and, having kids with him, sometimes the fact that he answers the phone, all the time, sometimes I'm like, sometimes can impede in family time, but, he really, he always says if someone's calling him on the weekends or if someone's calling him at like 10 at night, like they're not in a good place. So no one wants to be calling their Trotec rep at those times, but that means that something's not going smoothly. So, he's always answering, he's always texting back, he's always, working with customers, doing everything that he can do. And then if it's something that needs to be escalated to like tech support, back end computer, stuff, then we have all those resources too. And then one of the things I was going to say too is, Braden and, and I, we have the background of running an engraving shop, running lasers for production, running, for years before becoming, a distributor or selling the lasers. So it's somewhat of a unique or limited perspective of having a salesperson that can actually or has,
talk the shop talk, because you know
Yeah.
how people are going to use it. Yeah.
Yeah, been there, done that. Like realize, I don't know, Braden can relate and wants to help everyone, get back up to production, and really goes from the perspective of someone that has run the shop. So, we're there to support like not only the sale of the laser, but like material help, processing help, all of that, after the fact.
Yeah, and I think that that's a good thing that you add there, because I'm wonderfully have a Trotec laser now, Speedy 400 in my shop, and it's a phenomenal machine. I'm primarily using it for leather, which it's great. I mean, I'm just shocked at the detail that's coming off of it. But I had a situation the other day where I was running some cups on the rotary, and and I was like, Raiden, I'm having some issues here. What do you think? And like you said, he's been using them from a user perspective, and he was easily able to walk me through kind of what I was probably doing wrong within 5 minutes, and get it corrected and get me going again.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, I think, he loves talking to people. He loves talking about lasers and, all aspects of personalization business, but he loves being able to help people like that. So I think that that's one of the things that sets us apart is Braden's.
You guys are makers. You're makers at,
exactly.
He's a maker at when it comes down to the core concept of him. He loves making. I mean, that's what got him started. So, and that kind of dovetails into the sandblasting. You also, work with a sandblasting company, correct?
Yeah, so we're also a distributor for Iconic. So all of the Iconic Sandblaster machines, as well as the Blaze Orange, we actually offer to purchase on GS2, on our website for the materials side. But then we can, quote out and, work with customers on bringing like Iconic sandblasting machines into their shop. And I mean, that's like a perfect fit, especially Braden's, really, that's his roots of, sandblasting and everything from, before we got into GS2 awards, everything from production level sandblasting to, artistic.
That's his wheelhouse, right? That's his main.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's, extremely knowledgeable about sandblasting techniques, all of that kind of stuff, to really, really be able to talk from, an experienced perspective on what people are, struggling with, or, really just try to help people. Sandblasting is one of those things I've always said, it takes, the technical knowledge of what you're doing, but it's like a skill, or you have to really you're doing it with your own hands. Like, it's not, not to say a laser, you just hit a, a button, and if it's programmed right, it goes, but it's like, you have to, hold the piece, hit it with the right amount of pressure. So, I feel like it is somewhat more of a learning curve than.
I'm going to agree with you there. I bought a sandblaster through you guys. I think it's the Crystal Blast 3.0. I might be butchering it, but and I've only had it a little while. I've done a couple of jobs. I'm testing it out and playing with it. And you talk about the rookie there, and you're exactly right. It's a technique, and if I had to analogize it, it would be like I am in my leather world. When I color my leather, I'm using an airbrush. Based on how much liquid and air you're mixing and putting on the leather, it has a different look, right? And then you have your hand, which, the technique is really like how you maneuver it and the colors that you're doing. And so it's very much similar to me, what I'm seeing in the like airbrushing space, depending on the look you're going to get, it's going to be how much color and ink that you're putting on your material. And the same was the case for it's not proppant, I'm thinking of that, but it's like the graphite and how it hits the certain material. So I am definitely newbie at it. And when he comes here, he's coming back to my shop in a few weeks, I'm going to be like, give me the 101 on this, because I've been practicing and playing, and it looks okay. But then my paint job is not too great with it. And so it's definitely, like you said, it's a finesse type skill that's different than just pressing start on a laser.
Yeah. And I mean, it is, a learning curve, but, throughout the years, Braden, has trained, sandblasters that come in with no experience. And, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a learning curve. But what it could open up for a business is beyond what can be done on various lasers. So kind of elevates glass. It, can do multi-stage carving, which is, could be production work, but really it's getting into the artistic
Side of it,
space.
yeah.
And it's a really complementary tool to a shop that has lasers as well. And not only to just open up for doing more consistent etchings with glass, but there's lots of opportunities. I mean, I'm excited to see what you can do with sandblasting on leather. That's, a really awesome
A little
idea.
bit of the testing that I did with the last time I was with the group was just, oh, wow, it brings a different dimension. And when people want to talk about, why would you get a sandblaster when you have a UV and you have all these other lasers? Because it's a dimensional aspect of it, that it's just the superior look of it is just, wow, you can do, like you said, multi-layer, and then you can do depths, and there's just a lot of neat things you can do with it on stone, glass, leather. I want to try it on metal just to see what it does, like just removing the color of paint on things, and it's just another tool in your toolbox to give you a different look when you're creating things.
Yeah, it's it's really awesome. And I'm excited that more and more people are getting into it, and it's really something that can help stand apart from laser capabilities.
So if I look at here, GS2 awards, you do make your own awards for companies. So you've got a B2B side of it. You sell blanks to other makers, shops, or people that are in the awards industry. And then you guys sell equipment, primarily your reps for Churchtech Laser and Iconic Sandblasting. I hope I said that right.
Yes.
And then is that pretty much sums up what y'all's wheelhouse is, or did I miss anything?
Yeah, I mean, we've really shifted into kind of the wholesale blanks and material supply avenue in the last couple of years. We also are distributors for some laser fume filtration companies, which is kind of a complementary, / must need tool for running a laser if you don't have the outside filtration option. So we do that as well too for
what company is that?
So Filterbox and also BOFA. So there's lots of different companies, and but we've liked being able to help people get those filter units into their shop, which could be a game changer for people that don't have that outside option.
Yeah. And that is a challenge for a lot of people. So that's great that y'all are kind of the all encompassing. You could buy a laser and get your fuming set up, and then you can buy supplies and equipment.
And sorry, one of the areas that we're trying to focus a lot more on the end of this year and like in 2026 is more education and classes. I know that that's one of Braden's, really strong focuses, and we've been working with Iconics Imaging to do a blazering, which is combining laser engraving to prepare items for sandblasting and kind of combining those two technologies. But we really want to bring in more just kind of short how-to running your laser classes, expanding your business with laser engraving, and try to share knowledge that we've built up throughout the years. So that's really like one of Braden's, passions. And I love teaching, have, a background in teaching as well. So we're really hoping that we can expand into more education and hopefully, some online informational things as well too, versus just.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that because I think there's a gap in our industry for that how-to, that real hands-on how-to, and the leaders, the industry leaders are now like Braden trying to share some of that technique, how to do that. I think you have a class comes up in November, right, for the sandblasting one?
Yes. So we have we had one in May, and then we have another one coming up in November. So
I'm gonna come out for that one. I want to attend that one. I'm looking forward to that one. So we'll do some help and some marketing on my end if I can to get more people out there. Well, I know you're busy. We've been about 40 minutes here, and I want to, you're running a real production shop, and I want to let you get back to work. But any final things that you want to get out there about GS2 awards that maybe somebody who hadn't stumbled upon you guys yet, like they go, oh, I didn't know that. Maybe I need to go check out their website. But give us some final plugs there.
Yeah, I mean, really, GS2 Awards, we're small, family owned. It's, Braden and myself, but we really, I don't know, we just really have a passion for sharing what has worked for us, or, and what the things that we've learned throughout the years, and trying to share that with as many people as possible. We really like seeing others succeed or learn new things from us, and sharing all of that information. And one of our weaknesses is trying to share that information online. We do a lot of stuff in person. Braden, talking to Braden, he's a wealth of information, and one of our goals is trying to bring that into more of the online space, just trying to reach as many people that we can't physically be around. So that's one of our goals for the end of the year and next year too.
That's great. And again, like I said before, if you're a maker and you have a conference or an event close to you, see if you can get yourself out there, because that's how I really, saw, wow, this is everything that y'all offer. Before I partnered with you, I had no idea at the level of blanks and awards and things that you guys are making available. And that's why I'm trying to get a little bit more of the word out too for y'all, because the stuff that y'all offer is high quality, great pricing, low volumes on some things, that is game changers really for smaller shops that don't, that can't cut, 3/4 or 1 inch acrylic and be ready to go. So I want to thank you again for giving us this time today. We're going to get Braden next time we can. Do you know what the next conference is, the large conferences that y'all may be at? I'm catching you off guard on that one, but do you know?
Yeah. So Braden will be at the GPX Expo in Long Beach, and I believe that that's coming up in 2 weeks. So that's going to be in Long Beach, California. He'll be in the Trotec booth, and he'll also be working with Stephanie from the Country Porch Swing it's called GPX University, which is focused on learning over selling. So hands-on demos with sandblasting and laser engraving for that. So that should be a great opportunity for anyone in the Long Beach, California area. And then we're going to be at UV Energize at the beginning of September. So we'll be out there, and the goal of UV Energize is to really showcase some of our new acrylic blank options, some of the styles that we've been kind of working behind the scenes to develop, and really just try to reveal those to the UV print community that will be at that event. And then
that's in Tennessee, Nashville, right? Nashville in September.
Nashville, first week of September. So lots of, that's more geared towards people that have UV printers or are considering adding UV to their business. And there's a bunch of. I'm
sure you'll be at APA next year in February.
Yes. So we'll be at APA in February, and a bunch more. The schedule for this year is quite filled, but we have all of our events on our website too. There's an events education section on our website where we'll be at. But yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alison, for your time. And again, thank you for our sponsors for the show, which is GS2 Awards.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you
I can
so
personally
much.
thank our sponsor.
Yeah. This is great talking with you. I really appreciate the opportunity to, talk about all the things that we are doing over here.
And I want to expand on some of these podcasts as we go further out through the end of the year. I want to maybe have one with Braden on adhesives and glues. And, that is just like, you need like a Rosetta Stone to kind of get through that. You guys sell 3M tape, and there's different versions of it and different numbers. And he knows that off the back of his hand, which work best with wood and which work best with acrylic. And I think that's something like you have said, you're trying to do some of that learning and teaching more to other makers. And so I'd love to have y'all on again for that. And then another one with Braden to talk about the equipment in more detail, the Trotec lasers and the iconic sandblasting machines.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you around the internet.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good weekend.